I was left in the dark, and there I found light. I was left in the dark. The light that once seemed natural, almost guaranteed, simply went out, and then only silence remained. A heavy silence filling every corner of my body, as if the absence of external light exposed an inner darkness, an echo reverberating in my chest. This silent anguish has no voice. It doesn't cry for help. It just weighs, like a dark cloak enveloping you, muffling the senses and distorting time. It's the kind of darkness you don't see, but feel deeply, because it's made of lack, of emptiness, of questions that find no answer. Seneca reminds us that sailors don't learn to navigate in calm waters, but in storms, in waves that break and threaten. This darkness that seems like a punishment is in fact an inevitable part of the journey, the internal night that forces us to confront what's hidden, what's been ignored. It's in the silence of the shadow that strength begins to emerge, even if we don't see it yet. Darkness isn't total absence. It's an invitation to look inward, to listen to our own breath. When the external world seems to collapse, Epictetus, with his serene and firm voice, reminds us that even when everything seems empty and out of control, the spark of judgment remains free. No man is truly free unless he is master of himself. This freedom doesn't depend on what's outside, on what comes or goes, on a touch or a glance. It begins the moment we turn our gaze inward and recognize that even in the dark, the light that matters was never extinguished. It's there, within us, waiting to be seen. It's normal to fear your own darkness, normal to feel a tight chest in the face of this emptiness, because the dark is unknown, and the unknown is scary. But it's also the space where our light can be born. The space where hidden pain, the kind that isn't shown to others, gains an internal voice, a silent presence that begins to assert itself. The silence you feel now isn't a meaningless void. It's the beginning of the most important encounter, the encounter with yourself. And it's at this moment that the journey begins, even without a map, even without guarantee, because when all seems lost, it's there in the dark that the light that will guide us forward ignites. The wound of silent abandonment, the silence that accompanies abandonment, is a wound that doesn't bleed but hurt. It's the emptiness that echoes when no one asks if it still hurts, when instead empty advice is offered. Cliché phrases that sound distant, disconnected from the depth of what you feel. In this absence of true attention, an unconscious pattern grows, awaiting for crumbs that never seem to arrive. You shrink yourself to fit into others' space, accept less than you deserve, expect more than you should, and slowly lose yourself in fragments of yourself given away to avoid being alone. This prolonged waiting erodes dignity, because loving, when it means denying your own presence, is a silent mistake that repeats frequently. It's an invisible cycle that strengthens in chronic rejection, where the fear of not fitting into the adult world mixes with the sensation of being invisible, of not existing for those who should care. Abandonment doesn't need words to manifest. It settles in the space between averted glances, in encounters that don't happen, in touches that never arrive. And this emptiness resonates loudly within you, even when everything seems calm. And then a question arises, almost like a whisper. Do you echo the silence of those who didn't ask to stay? Who silences their own voice so as not to hurt the other? How many times have you chosen to be silent to avoid discomfort? How many times have you preferred to hide your pain so as not? The wound of silent abandonment isn't just about being left, but about how you learn to leave yourself. And it is precisely in this place of silence and pain that the possibility of rediscovering yourself begins, of listening to the voice that has been muffled for so long and that now, finally, has to be heard. The invisible mistake of seeking light in others. There's a silent trap many of us fall into, that of attributing to others the responsibility of illuminating our own shadow. We expect someone to light the lamp we've allowed to dim, to offer warmth where coldness has settled, to fill the voids we feel. It's like expecting the sun to bring us the coolness of the moon, an expectation that never materializes, because they are different things, each with its own time and nature. Seneca reminds us of this folly, this confusion between warmth and clarity, which keeps us trapped in an illusion. When we seek outside what can only be born within, we reinforce a cycle of frustration. We receive what the other has to give, and it's rarely what we need. We are invited to accept crumbs, fragments of attention, half-hearted affection. And in an attempt to maintain the connection, We mold ourselves, sacrifice ourselves, become shadows of who we truly are. But virtue, that silent and true strength, is not born from the concessions we make to others, but from the internal adjustment of our own judgment. It is in self-knowledge that we find the path to the light we seek. Before sharing your pain with the world, there's a simple yet powerful exercise. Try to silently name what you truly need to feel. Identify that genuine emotion behind the desire to be seen, loved, or embraced. Because only when we bring this pure feeling free from mass consciousness can we begin to walk a path where light no longer depends on others to shine. It's an invitation to stop waiting for external light and ignite the flame within yourself. The revelation of the forgotten spark. It's a silent, almost imperceptible moment when all external expectations cease and something inside you begins to glow. A spark that never truly went out, but was hidden under layers of weariness and exhaustion. It's the point of light that resists. The fire the storm couldn't extinguish. This forgotten spark is like a torch buried under emotional rubble, just waiting for you to stop carrying the weight of others' dramas to finally reappear with strength. Emotional exhaustion creates a strange space, a void that initially seems utterly empty, but which, in reality, is the place where your own flame can be rekindled. You no longer have the strength to uphold expectations that aren't yours, no longer carry the burden of trying to control what was never under your control. And it is in this deep weariness that the awareness of your own radiance begins to manifest, subtly, yet truly. What if it's not in pleading, in crying out, in the desperate search for answers, but in silence, in the silence you finally dare to listen to, that your light truly reveals itself? And what if the peace you so desire is in that calm space within you, ready to be accessed with every breath? Try for a few moments to breathe mindfully. Inhale and exhale, feeling the warmth that grows in the center of your chest, that invisible light that never ceased to exist. There lies the beginning of a reunion. There begins the awakening of the strength that never left. Stoic practices to ignite your own flame. Before sleeping, set aside 2 minutes to write down what still ignites your heart. This diary of darkness doesn't need explanations. It doesn't need judgment. It just needs to be a space where you can find the truth that insists on existing even in the shadow. Imagine you're sending a letter to yourself, a letter written with honesty and compassion, embracing what is alive and pulsing within you, even when it seems hidden. Seneca inspires us to use time as an ally, viewing our thoughts as letters sent by a distant friend, sometimes confusing, other times painful, but always worthy of attention. This practice is an invitation to slow down, to observe without haste what's happening inside, to accept without the urgency to fix it. In this process, self-knowledge grows and the inner flame strengthens. A simple exercise in self-control can transform your relationship with what happens out there. Identify out loud a trigger you notice often leads to self-sabotage. Naming it removes it from the unconscious and places it under your conscious watch. This is the practice of self-mastery, the true freedom Epictetus taught so much about. Presence becomes the foundation for responding to life, not reacting to its challenge. It's a presence that embraces what is without resistance and chooses how it positions itself in the world. Finally, keep a simple, constant anchor, the touch of your own pulse, the sensation of air entering and leaving, the silent rhythm of your body, as a reminder that the inner spark is always there, lit, waiting for you to see. Metaphor of the torch that illuminate from within. Imagine a torch that doesn't need external lanterns to light the way. A torch that burns without needing a visible flame. A warmth that doesn't burn your own hand. A glow that doesn't fade even when everything around is plunged into darkness. This torch is the light born within you, a bioluminescent light shining silently, constantly, effortlessly, because it is part of your essence. This inner light is not a distant lighthouse, nor an unattainable star in the sky. It is the fire that warms your chest, that guides your steps without needing an audience or validation. It is the invisible glow that dispels the fear of dark, that keeps your heart warm when storms come. And paradoxically, it is this light that becomes a beacon for other souls also lost in the gloom, but without you needing to carry their weight. Because illuminating isn't carrying, it's being present. If you could be your own fire, if you could be the source of the light you so sought outside, why wait for a shower of matches? Why wait for someone to light what has always been ready to shine? This torch isn't extinguished by rejection. It doesn't diminish with abandonment. It only grows when it is nurtured. when it is recognized, when it receives the attention of its own presence. And it is within you now, waiting to be noticed, to be lit, to be your silent guide in the dark. Reconstruction of inner vigilance. Being left in the dark, however painful it may have been, revealed an invisible power you might not have known you had, the power to light your own way. This light doesn't emerge without darkness. It's born from the shadow, from adversity, from the silent struggle within the chest. Seneca teaches us that adversity is like a fire that purifies the spirit, molding us with calm and firmness. Without darkness, light doesn't reveal its true strength. It needs the contrast to show its beauty. It's resilient. Marcus Aurelius completes this vision by affirming that the soul illuminates when we stop seeking in others what we already possess within ourselves. The inner spark, the strength that doesn't depend on external approval, is the foundation of true freedom and deep peace. Nurturing this inner torch is a silent responsibility, a commitment to serene vigilance, even on cloudy days, even when the storm insists on returning. So, ask yourself, with the honesty only night allows, what would you do today so that at dusk you find your own beacon lit? What simple gesture, what silent word, what daily choice can ignite and keep this light alive? The answer lies in the present, in the decision to care for yourself with the same attention you once sought from others. Because now, in the dark, you've discovered the light that was always yours, and this light can never be extinguished again.